16, Adrian Lamb will be delighted to get out of the John Smith Stadium with a win on Friday night. They were there for the taking for me. Leigh were not their spectacular best in this one. Huddersfield Giants, they started pretty well, didn't they? On the front foot. They went through the line on quite a few occasions. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this could be an interesting night for the Leigh Leopards. But quite frankly, Huddersfield just had no punch. And it's really disappointing. Really, really disappointing. You know, when you consider that this is the pack, to be fair, from 2023, they weren't really on the best game in this game at the John Smith Stadium. The Huddersfield Giants actually had more ball run meters than the Leigh Leopards in this, 1,623, playing 1,476. So they were definitely there for the taking. And also, when you consider that the Leigh Leopards missed 41 tackles in this game, 41. I mean, that's totally un-Leigh Leopards-like. So there was a real opportunity here for the Huddersfield Giants that wasn't taken. Why was that? Let's have a little chat about it. First thing first, though, I've got to go to the yellow card fest that was there for all to see. Dear me, incredible, wasn't it? I don't think he'd write that many cards at Christmas. Incredible stuff. I mean, Ollie Russell, for me, not a yellow. We saw far worse in the Casford game that weren't punished. I'm sorry, but I think that one was wrong. Very harshly done to was Oliver Russell. And then, of course, we have the Ed Chamberlain one. Again, very unlucky. I thought Masters was holding him in. So again, 2 yellow cards there that I completely disagree with. The Frankie Holton one, well, quite frankly, it's a judgment call. You win some, you lose some. I think, you know, bottom line was it was a judged a professional foul. Can't really argue with that. I think, you know, for me, Frankie needs to go and have a sit down for 10 minutes. And of course, Bradley Dwyer right at the death. I mean, yeah, no issues for me. Absolutely a yellow. I think he's going to be in trouble with the match review panel. It was a deliberate trip, and that's it. So for me, 2 of them spot on. One of them a little bit unlucky, one definitely not. That was my view. You know, it was an interesting game. I thought the first try was typical Leigh. You know, how many times do we see it and yet defences just cannot set for it? Beautiful sweeping move over to the left-hand side. There goes Joshua Charlie in at the corner for try number 9 of the season. He's just making a habit of it. And then for me, probably the key moment in the game, the Edwin Ipapi try. You know, took full advantage of Oliver Russell being in the bin, and off he goes. A little mazy run, a moment of quality and genius in a game that lacked a lot of that. Let's be absolutely fair. This is why Edwin Ipapi is one of the best hookers in Super League. Off he goes. Where was Akahifo? I think he was counting the empty seats. I mean, his head was in with the fairies, wasn't it? And as for Masters, he's got to be stronger. Got to be stronger in defence. He wasn't, and it's a simple try. And that is why at the moment Huddersfield Giants, for me, are losing so many games. Is because, you know, the basics of rugby league is that wins start from defence. Simple as that. Your defence is critical. They're leaking too many tries. They're not being strong enough in key moments of the game. They're lapsing in concentration at key moments of the game, and that is really biting them. It really is, and it's going to continue to bite them. I mean, Ian Watson in his post-match interview, we'll get to him in a little bit, but, you know, again, you've got to say what game was he watching. We'll come on into him in a few moments' time. Obviously, then Matt Moylan controlling the game. It was a penalty fest. He's kicking goals. He's making sure that Leigh get to that 16 points. As for the Huddersfield Giants, of course, there was then the 2 sending offs. There was a period in the game where, you know, Leigh Leopards had 2 players in the sin bin, and they took full advantage of that. I thought Sam Hewitt took his try really well. It was a really good second row of try, wasn't it? Really, really nice indeed from him. And they're back in the game at that point. They're right back in the game, and they've still got the advantage of, at that point, 11 men. Playing 11 men. But of course, they just couldn't make it count. Could the Kevin Nagama's try at the end? Let's be fair, it goes in. Brad Dwyer's in the bin again. They're playing 12 for the last couple of minutes. You never know. But it would have flattered Huddersfield. Really, really poor. You know, the Cowbell Army coming out on social media after, Ian Watson now he's right up against it. Talking about, I mean, I saw one Facebook post that was really interesting saying, in terms of lost revenue, if the gates continue to reduce, it could be 100 grand over the course of the season. A lot of pressure now actually being put on Ken David. Forget Ian Watson. The pressure's not on him anymore. The fans are now going for the chairman. The chairman, who, let's be fair, there wouldn't be a Huddersfield Giants for. So I think the Cowbell Army needs to steady on a little bit there. Of course, as always, it's only going to be a few people that are going there. Personally speaking, I think Ken Davies is a legend of a man and should be shown the utmost respect for what he's done for the Huddersfield Giants. But, you know, clearly now they want their voices heard. They've got a lot of discontent. And like I say, going to the press conference at the end of the game, Watson, what's he talking about? He's saying even though they're on this losing streak, that they're not in bad shape. No, you are. You are. You're a team devoid of confidence. You're not playing good. You know, the process is dead. Let's be absolutely honest about that. You can't keep talking about the process. You know, I think for me, they're too rigid. They're too easy to play against. That is the reality. Everybody knows the Ian Watson tactics. We've seen it time and time again. There's no the only time Huddersfield actually look good is when they're like 20, 25 points down. And actually, it's abandonment. Right, let's just go and attack the game. Let's throw the process out the window. Let's throw the ball about. Let's see what we can do. And then they look at a half-decent rugby team when they're actually playing eyes up rugby league. But they're just too structured, far, far too structured. Time and time again against the Leigh Leopards, they have opportunities to score and they do not convert. It's as simple as that. That is a big, big problem for them. And you know, in a game like this, where let's be fair, they played 11 men for 6 minutes and 12 men for 8. That's the reality. That's the reality. You know, that's just not good enough, is it? Simple as that. It's just not good enough. You cannot lose a game when you have that much of an advantage, especially the 11 men for the 6 minutes. I mean, for me, really, they have to go and get 2 scores. They have to. You know, all it's about there is left and right, coast to coast. If you play coast to coast against 11 men, you should go in. You know, I thought Elliot Wallace had a poor game. You know, I'm a massive fan of Elliot Wallace. I think, again, you know, the Cowbell Army fans, go steady on Elliot Wallace. I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good prospect, but this wasn't one of his best nights. Again, you know, mentality-wise, you know, in big games, and Elliot's a little bit odd at the time. I think he's got to curb that down for them. But like I say, I'm not saying that Leigh were great. They weren't. They weren't great. And they didn't have to be great. You know, it wasn't a game that had you on the edge of your seat. And at no point did I think Leigh Leopards was going to lose it. And that says a lot. Even at 11 men, I thought they'd concede a try, they did, but at no point did I think they were going to lose it. And that's really poor. You know, I remember the great Huddersfield Giants teams of the past. We had Earl Crabtree on, didn't we, on our In Conversation. You know, they used to play a wonderful brand of rugby league. They really, really did. But the bottom line is, at the moment, it's too structured. It's too easy to set up against. And quite frankly, I can see why the Huddersfield Giants fans now are getting a bit more discontented. You know, when you consider this team has not won at home since August. We keep going back there in Super League. Not won since August. I'm sorry. But, you know, it's not like a Darryl Powell at Warrington in that first season where he was given a season to sort it. You know, Watson's been there now for many years. And you know, it's a long time ago now, that Challenge Cup final against the Wigan Warriors. A long, long time ago. So for me now, I think there's a lot of pressure here. I think there could be a culling on the way. Right, let's get into a 3-2-1. And you know, in these type of moments and in games like this, it's all about moments. It's all about, you know, who had that little bit of sprinkle of quality. And for that reason, I'm going to give 3 points to Edwin Ipape. I thought his try was brilliantly taken. Yes, poor defence, but brilliantly taken. He had a really solid game, did Edwin, across the piece, I have to say. 22 tackles in this one. He, you know, he ran for 67 meters. He's had a clean break in there, but his try was critical. His try was critical. Wonderful stuff. And when you consider he went down, there's a lot of concern over Edwin Ipape early in the game. You know, thank the Lord, there was no issues there. At one point, I thought he'd done his knee again. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. We need Edwin in Super League for 2024. You know, we want to see him on the field of play doing what he does. I just thought to get up off the canvas and to go and do that, fair play to him. Fair play to him. Moylan again gets 2. You know, it's hard to overlook Matt Moylan at the moment. He really is making the Leigh Leopards tick. He made a try in this, but it was his kicking game. It's his smarts. You know, 4 from 4. Ultimately, that's what won the game for the Leigh Leopards. You can't look past that. And quite frankly, like I say, right across the park for both teams, there weren't many good players. There weren't many good players. There weren't many good players who were on the game that was shining, that was showing. So for me, you know, again, it makes it a little bit harder to move around to other parts of the team. So I'm going to give 2 to Moylan. And the 1 point may surprise a lot of people. I'm going to give it to Trout. Trout going up against his former team. And I thought this was his best performance in the Leigh Leopard shirt. Really solid. 34 tackles in D. He got over 100 metres, 14 carries for 104 metres. That's a good effort from Trouter. You know, he's slowly improving at the Leigh Leopard. So you know what? I want to recognise that. I want to give him a point this week. Well done to Mr. Trout. So there you go. They're the 3-2-1. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Do you agree? Do you agree it's time now possibly for Ian Watson to step aside? You know, because quite frankly, the process isn't working. What do you make of the Leigh Leopards? It's all about getting the 2 points and the W's. They're getting that, but they've got a really tough couple of fixtures now on the way and on the horizon. Have they got it in them to be top 6? Is this another way forward? Of course, Leeds losing at the weekend as well, so those teams around them are dropping points. Leigh are slowly but surely catching them up, and of course, Salford have got a tough game on Sunday, isn't it, against the Wigan Warriors. So these teams above them, Leigh are slowly but surely reeling them in. Are they going to get there? That's going to be an interesting one to see. Ladies and gentlemen, in the shed, he's back for round number 12. I hope you've enjoyed this analysis. Not a great game, but Huddersfield Giants lose once again by 10 points to 16 to a new contracted Adrian Lamb. Leigh Leopards, congratulations to you, be the Roarers. As for you, Cowbell Army, I feel your pain. There's always next week. Bye for now.